Ezili's kit doesn't work. No, I don't mean she's bad. You can see on my tier list that I think she's just average. I mean the way she's average doesn't work. And in my everlasting quest to talk about everything that I think isn't well designed in BTD6, it's Ezili's turn in the spotlight. So here's why I think Ezili needs a rework. But first, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already for more content in the future. When you think of a character, you usually imagine them having multiple abilities that make them worth running, just like Ezili, who has Moapex and... Ezili's main problem is that her whole entire identity can just be summed up as Moapexer, because her other abilities may seem decent but have a fatal flaw, or are just straight garbage. Let's attack them one at a time, starting with Heartstopper, which is an ability that stops the special attributes of regen or purple balloons, which some may argue is good, but its function isn't important enough to warrant it being locked behind an ability with a cooldown, especially when you consider that you could easily get a tower to just pop the purple layer of the balloons, or how most of the time regen isn't really a problem because you could just kill the balloon before it regens. It also doesn't help that no matter what level, the ability will never have full uptime, unlike other resistant deniers, and when comparing her to those different options, she mostly falls short. But going to her level 7 ability, which isn't flawed for the reason you may think it is, her Sacrificial Totem. Being an ability that sacrifices lives for power, you'd think that this would be a great risk-reward option, and you'd be correct. Not only is the risk very much worth it, but you could also easily regenerate these lives with a middle path Helipilot or a bottom path Monkey Village. The risk can even end up being a reward, since you can trigger the passives of towers such as the Elite Defender, or even the... Because her other abilities may seem decent but have a fatal flaw. Yes, I'm getting to that. Because the ability itself isn't flawed. The flaw comes from her other ability, Moapex. Being an ability that tears through Moabs, Moapex thrives on modes that go from round 1 to round 100. This may seem alright at first, but this directly conflicts with Sacrificial Totem, since on the modes that you can go from round 1 to 100, you can't even use Sacrificial Totem. But whenever you can use Sacrificial Totem, Moapex isn't as good as it usually is. So while Sacrificial Totem is good on its own, it synergizes horribly with Moapex, which is the main reason you run Ezili in the first place. This, and the fact that Heartstopper is not good, causes the feeling that Ezili only has one ability. Since Moapex is so good, most people only run Ezili for that so they can beat chimps or unpoppable. But Heartstopper sucks and Sacrificial Totem isn't usable in those modes. So here's how I'd rework those two abilities to make them more present. For Heartstopper, I would just ditch the whole entire thing and make it a passive instead of an active ability with permanent uptime. There's no reason for it to be an active ability, all it does is hinder the ability's potential. And instead of coming level 3, Sacrificial Totem will be a level 3 ability, and her Heartstopper will come along at level 5, with the other benefits of their level 5 as well. Speaking of Sacrificial Totem, the way I change it is to make it so that instead it's a slight boost in all the attributes it gives now that cost no lives. But if you click on it, you have the option of either donating 10 or 30 lives to either give it the normal buff it does now, or a massive buff in all those things. This makes the ability available on chimps and unpoppable, while also allowing it to have the same utility as it does now. Now, buffing these two abilities would probably have to mean a nerf to Moapex, such as his cooldown or active time, and these two changes might not be perfect. Either way, I think Ezili needs a rework because her other abilities are completely irrelevant.